All right, so we're recording now. So the first thing we have to do is that we have to create our Express setup. So first, let's open our terminal. Let me do this a bit bigger. No, that's a bit too big. All right, and first we have to start creating a package.json file. So use yarn. So we have to use init.y, but I think with npm it's the same. So yarn init.y. And what did okay. I wrote a space between the dash and y. So yarn init.y, and that creates our package.json right here. And now that we have that, I like installing everything before using it. So let's get that. So I'm going to install Express. I'm going to install Kinect, and I'm going to install SQLite. Things like that. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, that's correct. All right, so let's install Bluespeed first. It's gonna take a sec. Okay, so now we install those three dependencies, and then we need something for our server to run on locally. And for that, we're going to use NodeMon, and we have to install that as a dev dependency. So yarn NodeMon. And we should see that appear. Awesome. And then I'm going to create a new file called server.js, and it's right here. So this one is where all our main server stuff is going to be in, and we have to tell our package.json, or we have to tell our app to run it somehow. So we have to create a script. So right here, comma, we can just say scripts. And you can call it however you want, but normally server start. And then you have to tell your program that when you run server, you want to use NodeMon to run server.js. So, or like index.js, or just like the first file on your backend. All right, and now that should be all the setup we need from the package.json. And now we can just get started and just do a quick setup of Express to test if it's working. So right here in the server.js, we're going to be first importing Express. And then we have to create a server. So we have to do Express const Express. Const server equals Express. And actually, if you want to know some quick tricks and to write less, you could just do these. And this is the same as doing server express. So you can actually just do something like that. Well, usually I do like separating them, but it's just something you can do.
I had an issue with the yarn, so I missed the last part. So the last part that I have is the yarn add express next and SQLite. What did you do after that?
NodeMon. So I added the NodeMon as a dev dependency.
So it's just yarn add NodeMon?
NodeMon and then D.
Okay.
But it has to be as a dev dependency, so it doesn't go to GitHub, or it doesn't go to production. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I can drop this down there real quick on Slack. Right. So now we initialize our server. So right here we have our server, and then we have to tell our server to use some kind of middleware, and usually we'll do this most of the times, just using express.json or just some kind of parser to parse the incoming data as a JSON. So that's where we use server.use and express.json, or express.json, and then the parentheses to run that method. Okay, awesome. So, and after that, we're going to do the listening. Just tell our server where to run on locally. So right here, normally I like doing just const board and select the board. And then we do server.listen, and then server.listen receives two arguments. One of them is the port you're listening on, and the other one is just a callback. And from callback, I'm just going to console log server running on board, and I'm going to add the port there. Okay, so let's run it now. So if we do, if you're in npm, you should run with npm run server. Well, I use yarn, so yarn server. And we see that it's using nodemon, and it runs the server on port 4000. All right. And now what I like doing, I like adding like a really simple endpoint just to let people know, or to let the people know that they're using it, that it's working. So usually I like to add in like a test. And this is going to be a server.get, just with like an empty path. And then, as you know, it receives a callback with homies. And right here, I usually just respond with a status of 200. And I send a JSON with a message of what is our backend going to be about? So what would be something? We need something like posts and comments, something of that style. What could be a good idea to change it a little bit?
You're saying like what will be the content that will make up the backend?
Yeah.
So just a random topic or like a certain type?
Yeah, you just random.
Zoo animals.
Zoo animals, that's a good one. So, welcome to the Zoo API. All right.
Quick question.
Yeah, go
For
for
some
it.
reason, when I do yarn server, it's saying command server not found.
You haven't added the script. So if you go into the Slack, I sent the package.json. into the till hour Slack, and there should be a section where it says script.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
So because I didn't add that it won't work.
Yeah, because when you do run or join server or join whatever, it's going to look inside the scripts in your package.json, and that is what it's giving it like instructions. So right here, we're giving it an instruction when we do join server of running server.js using node1.
Okay.
And then that should be running.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so right now I'm just going to save this one right here, and I'm going to test it real quick. So new request. Initial test. Where's my browser? Send. And we get the message of welcome to the Zoo API. Okay, so our server is running. And now let's start creating the migrations first before we do anything else. So to do that, I'm going to open another terminal, and I'm going to key next init, or if you're using npm, it should be npx run keynext, something like that, or just npm keynext. Marcus, how was it with npx?
With npx, you want to do npx connects init.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so it's npm, npx keynext, and then you should be able to run it. Okay, so I'll run that, and I'll create a keynext file. And right now, we only need the development one. You can leave these ones if you want, but we won't be using them. So usually, if I don't like leaving the stuff I'm not using. So right here, we have to set up our Kinex environment. So first, we're going to be using a SQLite 3, and then I like storing everything inside of that data folder. So right here on file name, and check, yeah. I'm going to say to go into the data folder. Go into the data folder and create a database file. And I think this one we can change to DB3. I'm just going to leave it as SQLite for now. All right. So after we have that, we have to set up the migrations. So we have to say migrations. And then we have to tell Kinex where to create those migrations. So I'm going to say directory. And I'm just going to send them to data/migrations. Same with the seeds. Just copy this one right here. And these seeds, I'm going to send them to a seeds directory. And just because we're doing it locally, we have to use null as default. All right. And after you have all of these ones, you should be able to start creating migrations. So let's create 2 migration files. One for, let's say, one for the zoo and the other one for the animals in the zoo. So I think we can do next migrate, make, and let's just do to table. I think we can add multiple ones. So let me test that first, and animals table. Yeah, and we created, let's see. Oh, okay, so that didn't work. So let me ignore that. I'm going to roll back. Let me delete these ones and create some other migrations. Okay, so next migrate, make, and zoo table. All right, and I'm going to do an animals table. All right. So let's go first into the animals one, or the zoo one, and let's create our table for the zoos. So right here, we have to do return schema create table, and we have to name. Create table gets 2 arguments. One of them is just like the name of the table. So I'm just going to say zoos, and the other one is a callback, and I'll just call it table. Yes, and I'm missing that right there. So I wasn't closing the create table. All right, and now we can start creating a table. So I can just say table. Actually, let me. Okay, so this one is going to have an ID that is going to be given by the database. It's going to have a zoo name. And that one's going to be a string, and it has and will be a requirement, will be required. And let's do city. So city also be a string and will be required. I think that's good enough for now. All right. So let's start doing our table for that schema. So right here, we'll be doing an ID, and normally you'll be using increments for ID just because it goes to default to increments. It defaults to ID. Oh, yeah, I'm recording right now. So we'll be using increments for the ID. Then we're going to have a string of zoo name. So string, we have to call that column zoo name. And because it's required, we have to say not nullable. And after that, we're just missing the city. So string city and say not nullable. All right. So now we have our table, and now let's create. Oh, actually, I almost forgot to do the down. So right here, if we want to delete this table, we have to do return index.schema, and then I think this is way too long. Grab table if exists, and just add the table there. So SUS. All right, and now let's go into the animals migration. And this one, same thing. I always forget my return there, and it causes problems. So we can name that return index.schema create table. Oh, oops. What did I do? Create table. And then let's call it just animals. And do our callback. And let's start creating like a schema first. Okay. So in this one, we're going to be needing an ID, and that's going to be an integer, and it's going to be incremental. Then we'll have like species. It was going to be a string and required. Then we can say like name, same string and required. Then we can say, or we can tell it, we have to tell him which zoo does this animal belong to. So we're going to use CID, which is going to be an integer, and it's required. And here I'm just gonna send match with zoo.id. Right, so let's get started with that one first. Give me 1 sec, just want to make sure I do that one correctly. Because joins, I always forget how to do. So I think it's references, then I have to tell it from where. Yeah, we should be fine. So let's start doing the table. So table.increments for the ID. Then we need table.species or string species for the species, and this one is required, so we have to add not nullable. And since this one's almost the same, I'm just going to change the name. And then we need to add table.an integer. I think it's like integer, but I'll check real quick. Or int. I'll leave it like that for now. And let's call this one SUID. And right here, we just tell it we do unsigned and then dot, or actually first, I'll do a not nullable because it's a required value. So not nullable. Let's save it. Set. And then it'll be unsigned. And it's going to reference ID on, actually right here on reference, I think we can do SUID. Yeah, like sus.id. I'm not sure about it. That you may be able to do that. Or usually just to keep it safe, I'm going to do reference. Actually, I'm using an S. References ID in table sus. All right. So we have that, and now we should be able to run our. Get rid of that one. We should be able to run our database, and we should create a new database file. So Kinect migrate latest. And let's check that real quick. Oh, where's my charger? Just give me 1 second. Great. I use VB Browser Lite. It's a similar program than the one Luis uses. So I'm gonna, oops, I don't wanna create a new one. Right here, I'm going to open a database, and usually I just like to check how it looks. And I did it on desktop, data. Let's open the database just to see. So we see that we have a SUS table with an ID, a SU name and city. That's good. And then we have an table, animal tables with an ID, a species, a name, and a SU ID. Okay, so that looks good. All right, so now that we have that running, we have to create helper functions to be able to access and interact with the database. And so, like Luis mentioned, so we don't have to, if we change like the database, we don't have to change the endpoints. So usually how I like doing it, I create a folder and I call it helper. And usually I do that inside of the data. So helpers, and I'll do 2 different files. Just I like to separate them a bit more. So one of them is going to be the to helper.js, and the other one is going to be the animal helper.js. Right. So right here, it's where we're going to be interacting with the database. So to set a helper up or a helper file up, we're going to do, first we have to import Kinect. After that, we have to get the configuration file. So we'll be doing const, actually, we'll just call it db-config. And we'll have to require the Kinect file. And then the way we get access to the database is by telling Kinect or configuration. So right now, our configuration will be, we only have 1. we only have the development configuration. Usually, you would have like development, production, and sometimes staging too. But right here, we can just say const db equals to next, and then we just go to db config dot, and we actually see development there. Click enter. I'm just going to select out of these and paste it into the Sul helper, which let's do the Sul helper first. So right here, let's do module.exports. There are two ways you can write this. You can write the individual functions. So let me do a quick sample. Const function. Maybe I cannot call it function. Yeah. So example. Okay. One way would be doing that and then sending the function to the module exports. So an example, and then you can have more like get sus, post, things like that, and you'll be creating the functions down here. I do it a bit different. So what I do, I like adding the functions straight to my module.exports. So let's do that right now. But you can do it the other way too. So the way I do it, so we're doing sus. So I do get sus. And what I like doing, instead of having a get sus and get sus by ID, I like combining those two. So what I do to combine them is that I create a function that receives an ID. And right there, I'm going to do some logic just to check if there's an ID, if we provided an ID. And if we didn't provide an ID, we'll just return all the sus. And if we provide one, if we provide an ID, I'll just return that one sus with that ID. So right here, I'll say get sus, or actually I just call it that. So I'll do an if statement, checking if there's an ID. And if there's an ID, I'll just return. So right here we can do db sus. So I'll return the item, say db sus, where the ID is equal to the ID we provided. Else, so if no ID was provided, I'll just return db sus. So this will just like drop the whole table. And actually, I almost forgot. Before I continue with this, I'll seed some data inside. So to do that, we'll do max seed make, and I'll just first seed sus, and then seed make animals. All right, so let's see some data in before we continue on that. So that should be on data seeds, sus. All right, and right here we can, we're going to be sitting inside sus. So we add that to the table names. And right here, we don't need the ID because the database provides that. And also I'm going to change this to lead to a trunk lead. Okay. So let me get my migration real quick. Okay. So we have suname and CD. So suname and we'll just say let's call this one Little Rock Zoo and city. I think let's go random city. Doesn't even know if it says Rock, Texas. I don't know. That was the first thing we can do. Right? We'll delete these ones. And usually when you write one, you can just select it, and if you press Shift and Alt and arrow down, you can just clone it as many times as you want. But I'll just add a couple views. So this one I'm just going to say like Silicon Valley Zoo, and let's do San Francisco. All right. So we'll be saving those two inside the zoos table, and then let's get some animals. So this one's going to have the ID of 1, and this one's going to have the ID of 2. So zoo, seats, animals. And let's get that table. Okay. So we don't need an ID because the database provides that for us. And let's add it. So we need a species. Let's do first like an elephant. And then we'll ask for a name too. And it'll ask for a zoo. So this one will belong to the zoo with the ID of 1. And let's just get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 animals. So what could be another animal we could have? So just give me quick ideas. The tiger, and I don't remember what's the tiger name on like the Jungle Book. I forgot. Yeah, I'll just do like Jack the Tiger. I don't know. So Jack the Tiger, and then we'll do a monkey. Handlebars the monkey, and then let's go to a giraffe. This is going to be let's do Jill the giraffe. So the crocodile. Pepe. And one more sloth. And flash the sloth. All right, and let's just change some IDs. So let's make that the first zoo will only have 2, and the second zoo will have these 4. All right, and now that we have those 2 saved, we can do seed, next seed run, and I'll add those. Okay, so all right, so I missed to change the table name. This one's only going to be animals. Save and run it again. All right, and now we can check our database. So I'll open it again. And I think there's a reload. Okay, I'll just reopen it. So like here, we can go to browse data, and we see that now inside the database we have the data. So we have animals, and then we have the two zoos. Awesome. Now let's go back to the helpers. Now that we have some data, and let me close some things. So we're doing the zoo helper first. All right, so we did get zoos. That it does the job of like getting all of them and getting my ID, and we're differentiating that by the if, because of the if statement. That if you want to add more functions in like this way I write them, I'll just do a comma and add a new one. So right here I'm going to say add two, and this way two, I'll receive a two, and what it'll do will return. So it will be looking inside the database of zoos, and it's going to insert the zoo inside of that database. Okay, so this one's done too. Let's add a new one. So we also want to update. Oh, can't write one. Let's see. So I'll update two. This one's going to receive two arguments. We receive an ID, and it's also going to receive two. So this one we'll call it updated two. And right here, what we're going to return. So we'll be working inside the zoos database or zoos table. Then we'll have to find, when you're working with databases, you have to do like more explicit than usual. So you have where, which table you're working on, which item you want to do something to, and what you're gonna do to it. So usually, if you're just returning, you can just say, give me the item inside zoos, where the ID is equal to the ID we provide. And right here, we're going to say, give me all the items inside the zoos table, and then you have to be a bit more explicit, where ID equals ID. So give me the item where it matches the same ID we provide, and then you do the update, and you tell it, okay, now that we have that item, update it. And we're going to update it with updated. Okay, and now we're just missing the delete. So right here we can say delete two. Actually, I'll remove two because we already know that it's from for the zoo because of the helper. So that will be just real quick. I'll delete that. Okay. So delete, this one is going to get an ID, and same thing. So I'm just going to copy paste this one. So we're working in a specific item because we have the where, and let's do delete. And think I'll usually do deal, which I think is the same thing. So now we have those done, and let's go on to the animal helpers. So module.exports. All right, and let's do the same thing. So get, it'll get an ID And then we're going to check if an ID is provided. And if it is provided, we're going to return that specific item with that ID. So it will be animals dot where ID equals the ID we provided. Else, we're going to return DB animals. So we're just going to return that. We're just going to dump that whole table. And then after that, let's do a post. So add, and this one will get us animal. And this one we're returning same thing, the animals table. And we're going to insert an animal into that table. All right. Then we need the update functionality, so update. And this one gets an ID to identify what we're updating, and then an updated animal. So this one we have to return. So we have to tell inside which table we're working on, which animals. Then we have to say what we're updating, so where the ID matches the ID we provide, and we have to pass the updated one. So update and updated. And awesome. Now we're just missing delete. We're going to equal to ID. Or it's not equal to ID, it's going to receive an ID. And same thing. We have to tell it which table, so it's the animals table. And we have to, so which animal, so we have to use where. All right, and almost forgot. Then we have to say, what are we going to do with that? So we're going to do with it. Save. Now our helpers are done, and we can get on to create we can get on to creating the routes. So let's go there and let's create a new folder. I'll just call it routes. And if you want these icons, so if you see my routes has like a tool kind of thing icon, and like my helpers has also like a specific icon. If you go to extensions and just go like VS Code icons, or just look for icons, it should be there. And it's pretty nice. It gives you like icons for everything. So for example, my package.json says npm, my JavaScript files say JS, my yarn files have like the yarn cat logo, and I don't know, it's kind of nice to look at. Okay, well, let's keep going. So, or routes. On routes, let's create 2 different routes. So let's create a Sue route, .js, and let's create an animals route. Okay. And now, since we added routes, we have to set them up inside the server. So let's do that right now. So let's go to the server, routes, and let's have so const route it's equal to require. First, we have to import them. So it will be routes and route, and then we'll also add the animals route. All right, and now we have to tell the server to use them and to use them on a specific criteria. So that specific criteria will be the path. So if we do server.use, we can tell it the path. So only use these when the path is API slash /su. And if the path matches with this one, go to run it with the su route. And same thing here, animals route. So go to the animals route if the path is API animals. And right now it's going to crash because our routes, we still haven't set them up. So to set up the route, first you need to import express. So const express from require express. Then we have to add router. So const router. And we're going to get that from express the router right there. And this one is really important. Something I took some time to get used to doing. It's adding the exports module. So export or module export, sorry. Module.exports equals router. Okay, so now this one is set up. Let's paste this one inside the route. And now let's see. To route A. Okay. No way. I added that. Do we have the same thing here? Yeah. Okay, now it's running. So let me just bring something. Oh no. Okay, that looks not. It's the same scenes. All right. So it's running. All right. And first, let's do the su route endpoints. So right here, let's start with the get. And let's do, so let's start with get all. Oh, also, I almost forgot. Since we're using helpers, we have to import that helper. So right here, I'm just going to say const. Actually, I'll call it su h, so su helper, and I'll require that specific one. So I need to go back, data, helpers, and su helper. All right. Now we have that, we can get on doing the routes. So router, actually, I'll use this route here. Because you can call this one right here however you want, as long as it's equal to express router. So route.get, and when it's the base path for su route, which is API/su, we need the homies. We're just going to return all the su's. So su h dot get, and since we're not passing anything inside of it, it will return all of the su's. Then we need to do then and catch. Right here on the then, we'll return the su's. So let's just send a response called status 200 with su's inside of JSON. And I forgot to go here. Very good. And if it fails, this one is going to give us an error. And let's send a response with the status of 500, so that's a server error. And in JSON, I'm going to send a message, or well, I'm going to send an object with a message. So, and just write a message, so failed to get shoes. And if you want, you could also include like what it's failing. So if it fails, you can say like error equals error.message. I don't think it'll fail this one, so I won't really include it. I like including that sometimes for like debugging or adding them like into an update or a post, because that way you can see what's like, you'll get like a SQLite error if you're doing something wrong. So let's add a new one. Get the ID. And right here, let's do another get. So route.get. And we have to add a parameter. And the homies. And now let's, since we have a dynamic ID parameter, we have to get that, because that's how we're going to know which ID we're going to look for. So const ID equals rect.params. And now let's grab the helper. So that's suh dot get, and now we're going to provide that ID. And let's see dot then and dot catch. This one normally the catch and just copy and paste it, so I don't have to write as much. And then in the then, we're going to get something. So let's test it first. Because we wouldn't be able to know what to do with it until we know what we're getting back. So let's do console log, and let's console log what it's returning. Right here, I'm going to add a new request. This one's going to get get by ID. Right here, we have to do API / Sue, and let's do the first one. Let's see. Oh, okay, so it crashed. So let's see why. Failed to get Sue. Let's see. We have the catch, JSON, missing after argument. Okay, I'm missing the closing parenthesis on that. There it is. Right, and send. Okay, so we ask for all the Sues, we get all of them. And let's ask for the ID of 1. And let's check inside the console log. So we see we get that ID. So on then is the post. So we're getting the whole item back. But now you have to think as a front-end developer too, that maybe somehow you could send an ID that doesn't exist. What happens if you ask for ID of 10 and it's not there? So if we ask for ID of 10, that's a request, we see that we get an empty array back. So we have to we have to use some logic to tell the client or to tell whoever's working with the API, okay, so you sent an ID that doesn't exist. Because if they get this back, they may be able to know that, okay, there's nothing there. But if you don't know anything about backend and you get just this right here, it'll be a bit confusing. So let's add that logic. So here we go, that console log. I'm going to add curly brackets and let's get to it. So now right here we know that we're getting Sue back. And what's an if statement? So I'm going to be checking for the item with the index of 0, because in an array you start counting from 0 upwards. So this one right here, since it's only one item, it has an ID of 0. And this one right here, since there aren't any items inside, there isn't an index. So if I ask for the index of 0 inside of the array, it will be undefined. And we can actually test it real quick. So let's test that real quick. Actually, let's just console log to 0. Okay, so if we send one that exists on the index 0 of the Sue array, we get only that object, because that's the one that this item is the one that has the index of 0. And if we add a number that doesn't exist, we get an undefined. So now we have a way of checking. So if undefined equals false on an if statement. So right here, if choose with an index of 0, and right here we can go and say response status. So if there is one, we can just say successful. So 200 and return the Sue. Actually, I'll just return that specific Sue like that. Okay, and else, let's return a response with the status code of 404, so not found. JSON, I'm going to send a message. The message I'm going to say no Sue under that ID. Okay. So now let's test it real quick. If we ask for a Sue of ID of 10 when we only have 2, we'll get that message. No Sue under provided ID. And if we ask for 1 that's there, we'll get the Sue. Okay, awesome. So now let's keep going. So router dot let's do post. We're going to post to the main path. Then bring the homies, right and rest. And right here we're going to get the body, const body from right.body. Then we're going to be using the Sue helper. Add, and we'll be adding the body. Then we get then and a catch. I'll use copy and paste this one and change the message. Fail to add Sue. And in this one, I'm going to provide the error message. So I'll say comma error equals error.message. And now let's oh, route. There we go. And now on the then, let's just see what it's returning. I think it returns the ID, but let's check first. So then blah, well, we're gonna something back and let's just console. Well, why my console is not working? And blah. Well, let's add something. So let me create a new request. Add to, and this one's going to be post. We'll be sending a JSON, create, and right here we're going to be sending what was it? Name and C. Okay, let's send it. And missing URL. Okay, so yeah, we get the ID back. So let's send a response with a status of 201. You can just say 200, but 201 it means created. So we created something new, .json. And right here, I'm just going to add a message. So I like adding messages for whoever's working on the front end. Even if it's myself, I'll say created to the ID of, and actually I'm going to change these ones to backticks. Of ID, or, and actually I'm going to set this flag to ID. Okay. Well, now let's do another test. So test 2, and send it, and we get a message created 2 with ID of 4. And then if we send something wrong, so send, we get we get the error message failed to add Sue, and then we get the error. So insert Sue's into blah blah, and it says SQLite error, table Sue's has no column of that. So now we know what we did wrong. Okay, so post is working now. We can just get real quick. And we should see those two there. Awesome. Now let's just do a quick update and delete, and then I'll just kind of breeze through the, and actually, okay, I'll do that in a bit. I'll do that last. I'll do the join last. But I'll finish the zoo route, and then I'll finish the animals route a bit quicker, and then we'll create the join to get each animal inside a zoo. So let's add the update real quick. So const.put. This one gets an ID from the parameters, and that's not const. So route. And right here, we can need homies, writing rest. And since we're updating, we need to know where and what, or like what we're updating. So we need a const, we need the ID from reg.parents, and we also need the body from reg.body. Now let's just do h.update. And I think we were sending the ID first. Yeah. And actually, it was going to fail because I didn't write it correctly. So updated Sue. This thing we checked. Okay, so ID and body. Okay, and then let's just do that. And I think this one returns the count of like what was updated. It's either a 1 or a 0. And let me see if there's a way. Yeah, so this one we can say, we can check if the ID of what we're updating exists. Because let's do something. So let's say again, blah, let's blah, blah. So I'm going to omit the catch for now. Let's say, what happens if we do an put request? In a JSON file, and let's just modify the city. So city equals one. Okay. And let's update the ID of 10. So that ID doesn't exist. Let's click enter. And as a response, we get 0. So that means nothing was updated. And if we go to like ID of 4, we know that there's a 4 available. So let's update that one, send, and we get a 1 back. So it's like a true or false. So, and if we do a get request, we see that the city of ID 4 was updated. So we can use that just to know if the ID exists or not. So we're going to do something really similar. So then I'll just call it count. And then same, I'll do an if statement. If count, I'll just say if count equals 0, that means that there isn't an ID there. So I'll send a response of a status 400 on 4 or not found. And then I'll send a JSON with a message of no student provided ID. And if the else, so if the count is not 0, so it's 1, we'll send a response with a status of 200 and a JSON with a message, and I'll just copy this message right here. And we'll just change, instead of created, updated to with ID of or updated. And this one I'll say count. Updated once. And then we also need the catch. So catch, I'll just get it from here. And instead of add, I'll just say update. And let's move the semicolon. All right. And now let's test it again. So let's update the city of the zoo with ID of 4. Okay, and we get a message of updated 1 zoo, and then if we get the zoos, we can see updated 2. And then let's update zoo 500, it's not there, and then we get the message of no zoo provided under that ID. Okay, awesome. And if it fails, so if we try to modify something that is in there, we'll get a message saying failed to update to, and then we get why it failed. So it says no such column as the one we sent. Okay, so now let's go to delete. So route.delete, and you can also get an ID, and we bring in the homies, and let's do that real quick. So const, we need the ID to know what we're deleting. So equals reg.params. Then let's go to a helper. Let's go to delete and send that specific ID. And then we need then and we need catch. So on then, I think this one returns a count also. But let's test it real quick. So let's create a request. Deal soon. Delete. Delete to 4. Send. Yeah, so we get a count. So actually we can just use the same then. So then count, and then we say no Sue under provided ID, and here I'll just change to deleted one Sue. And then on cat, I'm just going to use the same thing with the error message. Actually, I won't do an error message because there isn't much that can happen. So in this one, I'll just get rid of this section right here. All right, and let's try to delete Sue with ID of 100. Send, no Sue under provided ID. And let's delete Sue with ID of 3. Send, delete one Sue. And now we should only see 2 of them. So again, yeah, we have the 2 main ones. So now let's quickly create the animals route. So this one, I'm just pretty much going to copy and paste this whole file. That's going to be fairly similar. And let's just modify it. So right here, const animal age, or animals age, the helper require, forgetting the quotes. So it's on data helpers and animal helper. All right, so right here, let's just change the Sue helper for the animal helper because they're the same. They have the same logic. And let's test those real quick. Okay, and now let's do get animals, send. Oh, internal server. So there's something wrong here. Let's look at what it is. So animal age gets not a function. Animal helper get. Let's save this one. So we do have get under animal helper. So let's check why that is not working. So animals age. Let's see now. So let me do animals age dot. Okay, so that's not a function. Yeah, let's debug this real quick. So let's go to animal helper. Oh, okay, right here, typo. It has to be module.exports with an S. So that's why it wasn't getting anything. Module.exports. And I noticed that because of the color. Normally, or on my VS Code configuration, module and exports are both green, and in this one it was blue. So that's why I noticed that quickly. So now let's save that and run that again. So animal dot set, and we get all the animals back. And 7, 8. Yeah, that's weird. Why are the IDs like that? Oh, that's because we run twice. So let me give it a sec. The IDs are like that because I ran seed run twice. So it just because you already saw there was like an ID of 6, it deleted those and then it added the new ones. So I think that can be fixed real quick using a truncate right here. Instead of a delete. So let me run index seed run again. And let's get them. Yeah. And now it's 1 to 6. Okay. So that works. I'm just going to change every word that says Zeus to animal. So to do that, you can do in Mac is Shift Command L, and you select all of them. So animals. And whenever it says Zoo, I'm going to change that to animal. And if you do that, I think in Windows it's just Shift Control L maybe. But now everything says animal. And this one's pretty much done now because we have the same logic in both of them. So we can just test them all real quick. So let's copy this. Post JSON. Okay, so let's add now let's add it to the zoo with an ID of 1. So let's add it and I didn't add a URL. Send and there you go. Send. Okay. No table name. Okay, zoo. You have to change that to animals. Now create an animal with ID of 7, and now we can just do a get, send, and yeah, so that's working, and it's most likely because everything else is also working. So I'll just go because we don't have much time and do the join. So since we have something that belongs to another thing, so we have animals that belong to a specific zoo. It would be nice to have a function when we ask, okay, give me all the animals for zoo ID of 1. And we can actually do that, but it doesn't give us enough information. And imagine if you're on the front end and you want to get a specific ID and you want to get the ID of zoos, if you want to get all the animals for a zoo ID, and you get this object right here, but then it's not very usable because you don't have the zoo name. Because imagine you have like a table of animals, and you want to specify the species, the name, and the name of the zoo they belong to. And if you want to do that with this specific table, you'll have to do two different requests. So first you will have to request the animal. So you have to request this, and then you'll get the SUID, and then you'll have to do another request for like a get by ID to get this SU by ID, and then you'll be able to get this information. So we can join that into only one endpoint using a join. So let's go to the animal helper, because this one is an animal endpoint. We want the animals for a specific suit. So the focus has to be on the animals. So let's add a new one here, and let's call it get by SUID. And this one is going to get an ID, or actually I'm going to specify that it's a SUID. Right here, we're going to return, or I think we return our animal table first. So animals. And then we're going to do a join with the SU table. And right here, you have to join them. You have to tell them how to join them. So what is going to be the criteria to pair things together? And now we're going to use that SUID. So basically, how I like of thinking of this is, let me do the annotation tool real quick, is that the first item is going to be from the main table, and the second item is going to be from the table we're joining. So it should be something like that. And let me just once. Okay. So first, we're going to be joining the animal the SUID. I didn't erase that. Okay, and we're going to be joining that with the SUS, the ID of the SUS. So SUS.id. Okay, and now let's just leave it like that for now, and let's try to do another endpoint. So animals route, I'll do a new endpoint. So get by SUID. So that's going to be route.get, and I'm going to add SUID. And then just the normal callback with ponies. And right here, let's get that SUID, so const SUID from rec.params. And let's get it. So let's do animal helper dot get by SUID, and let's send in the SUID. So that's going to be SUID. And then let's just do the then catch, same thing. I'm just going to copy this catch. No. And fail to get animals under that SUID. Down that, we're just going to say animals, and we're going to return a response for the status of 200. And we're going to return the animals as it is. Okay, and let's just try it real quick. And this one is not going to work, actually. First of all, I added rest, so it has to be rest. And this one is not going to work because this endpoint will fire, will also fire the get by ID. So we have to specify. So right here we can say Sue. We're doing API animals. And then, yeah, let's just do, actually this one, it will be a little better if we added to, so I'll just cut this from here and I'll add it to the Sue route. And we'll see why in a little bit. So right here, we are doing API slash Sue slash Sue ID slash animals. Just because of the path, so animals. And so now we have to import the animal helper in here. So let's see if the other one will match. So it's API slash animals slash Sue slash Sue ID. Yeah, I think it's just a bit more logical to do it this way right now. So let's import the animal const animal age equals required. Data helpers animal helper. Okay. And let's see, service running, and let's go to that route. So now we have 5 minutes, so I'll try to go a bit faster. So right now we have API Sue, and then we give it the Sue ID, so let's say Sue ID of 2, and let's add animals. So we run it, and now if you see, we combine the two tables. So we get the, let's see. Yeah, so now, right now we're getting all the animals from all the tables and all the Sues. But now right here, we can see this one is the Sue, this ID is the Sue ID. Because if you see ID1, Rock, Texas, ID1, Rock, Texas, ID2, San Francisco, but now we get all the animals. So we're getting that in ID1 there's an elephant and a tiger, and then we don't see ID1. Right? We see one animal test. So now we have to specify which one we want. So right here, we're sending a Sue ID. So let's go back to the animal helper. So animal helper, the get by Sue ID is receiving a Sue ID. So right here, we can just say where. So where, and here we can say where Sue ID. So that's on the animals table. Where animals.Sue ID. Okay, equals Sue ID. Okay, and now if we run this one again, and so we're asking for 2, just Sue number 2, and send. Now we only get the the Silicon Valley animals. And now we can query the data even more, because here we're getting some data that's not really important. So the Sue ID is not that important to get it, because this one is an animals endpoint. So in this one, the focus is the animals. So this one, it's really important that you get the animal ID, which you're not getting. Let me see. Actually, I think this has to be backwards. My bad. So let's do Sue. Let's just test it real quick. Animals. And let me change this one. Let's test it like that real quick. And yeah, my bad. It was backwards. So first we need to get the Sue, and then we need to add the animals to the Sue using the join. So now we get the animal ID, because the reason I think the animal ID is really important because it's that when you get that those animals, you want to be able to edit them. You want to be able to update them and to delete them. And to do one of those two things, you need their ID. So that's why you need, or why I think the ID is really important to include. And right here, the CID isn't really important because we're not going to delete the Sue from the specific. Sorry, I want my brain stopped for a second. We're not going to delete the Sue from an animal. We want to be able to delete or update the Sue from like the Sue, if that makes sense. So right here we can do a select. And we can like select all the data we want. So this might be a little repetitive, but let's go with it. So like we want the animal.id. We want that. We want the animal.name. We want the animals.species. And we want the Sue name, so that's Sue's name, and we want the Sue city. So Sue's.city. So, and now if we ask for this again, we're only going to get this what we asked for. So failed to get animals, no animals under that CID. So what did I do? Okay, let me try to do something real quick. Okay, and see. I'm doing something wrong here. Let's see. So message failed to get animals. So let me do. We're a bit over time, but let me do on the route. Let me get the error message too. So I want to check what's going on. So error equals error.message. And this way we're going to be able to see what's going on. So failed to get animals under that Sue ID, send. SQLite error. Let's see, error.message. Let's go back. Okay, restarting and send. Okay, select animals ID, not such a column as Sue name. Oh, okay, it was that. actually, let's see. I called the name, and this is not really necessary because it's already inside that table, so you can just call it name. That was on me. So let's go to the animal helper and name, and that should fix it. Save. Yeah, and now we're only getting the animal ID, the animal name, the animal species, the name, and the city. And that's the whole project. Yeah, any questions or comments?
Well, that's pretty much it.
All right, Michael, anything? All right, well, yeah, I'll post the recording in around like an hour or two, so, and also the code, so that will be on the slide.
Oh, great. Can I send you a DM if I have like when I go back and redo it? Because I think I have like some additional questions, but I just need to review the video again.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'll try to answer them on a message.
No problem.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess I'll see you two during the lecture.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. All right. Bye.